Hello to our viewers in Singapore and around the world. You're watching Words and Music. My name is Loretta Elabons. Words and Music is an online celebrity chat show created during COVID-19 to connect with artists and find out how they are coping and utilizing their time during the pandemic. In between, we find out about their life stories. My guest today is the king of romance, Engelbert Humperdinck, a true celebrity whose career has spanned over 50 years, generated 64 gold and 35 platinum albums, received 4 Grammy nominations, a Golden Globe Award, and had his own TV specials, and also performed for the Queen of England and other heads of state. In our chat today, Engelbert talks about the celebrities he worked with when he first arrived in America, his late manager Gordon Mills, his childhood in India, and his recent live stream, which trended globally, and more. Hi, Engelbert. How have you been?
Well, it's pretty much quiet. It's locked down, sort of thing. But what can you do? You can't do too much about it. It's the way it is, and you've got to put up with it,
Definitely.
Have I changed?
No, you look so handsome. I was looking at your live stream.
Oh, yeah?
And I was just telling, Ross, like how good looking and how dashing you are.
That's made me feel very good today. Thank you.
The tan, you have such a nice tan.
I live up here on the mountain, and in the daytime I go out and get a little sunshine, because they say if you go in the heat, in the sunshine, it keeps the virus away.
The last time we saw you in Singapore, of course, it was a phenomenal concert, sold-out show at the University Cultural Centre. We remember, having such wonderful Indian food with you.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I remember.
How are you, finding your meals since now all the restaurants are closed?
At the moment, I have a pretty good cook in the house, so we're not too worried about that,
Now, the COVID-19, Engelbert, brought the entertainment industry to a sudden stop.
I'm so sick because I can't go out and do my job, the one thing that I love to do, because this year was so full of exciting shows for me to do. And this thing came along and just shut it down. And I was so upset because my show was ready to go, and I was ready to go. My band was ready to go. And it was just terrible. I've got new material to do in my show. I always keep updating, and making sure that I stay ahead of the game all the time. In other words, giving my fans and my audiences the best of my ability, and all the new stuff that comes along, plus the ones they want to hear, which is the hits, and that made me who I am today.
Engelbert, where were you supposed to tour this year?
We were going to do a big European tour: Germany, Belgium, Iceland, going to Prague, and Ostend, and Killarney, and Glasgow, and England, and do London, and it all shut down.
Have you seen this sort of pandemic and shutdown in the music industry in your lifetime?
I've never seen it before, and I don't think I'll ever see it again. Because this is something that is so unusual. It's just killed the industry, killed the businesses, the whole world. I'm not talking about just your country, my country. I'm talking about the world has shut its doors. An event in history that will be marked for the rest of the time. I think nobody will ever see this again. Once they find a cure for that, then we're back to normal again. But I don't think it's going to be till maybe October. I think I have a feeling. I'm no Nostradamus, mind you, but I have a feeling that by October something great is going to happen, and that's when they're going to bring it out. I have a feeling.
I trust your feelings.
Oh, thank you, Loretta.
I do, because you had these feelings with your first single release, with the song release. You basically said, that song is going to do it for me. So I trust what you're saying, and so that's really good news. Because the news is so dire here. industry people are saying that we may only resume tours in mid of 2021.
I believe even when it's all over, when things are over, people can sit in the audience wearing these things and they'll be safe. I think because you have to worry about your eyes. That's number one. And of course your nose, and be careful of the droplets, whatever they're called. It looks as though Oxfordshire, my country in England, has found a remedy for it, and they think that they're the front runners right now. But they do have something over here as well, called a drug called remdesivir, and it seems to be doing the trick. But Oxfordshire seems to have the lead on the number one vaccine that's going to come out. I'm a Brit.
Okay, we just keep our fingers crossed, Engelbert.
We'll be happy for whomever it is, you know what I'm saying?
You recently did a live stream.
I prepared for it, and I thought I didn't really know how it was going to go because I've never done anything like it before. When we finally did it, it went absolutely berserk. It went all over the world. The big numbers were in the United States. Then the second biggest country in the world was India, would you believe? And then there was the Philippines. I want to tell you about the Philippines. The Philippines is a very wonderful place for me because they're very musical in the Philippines. They're very, very musical. And there's the most Engelbert impersonators in the Philippines.
Wow.
Right? And I'm going to tell you, and the next place was Canada and the United Kingdom, Malaysia, then Singapore.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then, of course, it went through, I think, over 100 countries around the world. And it was just an amazing amount of people who looked in to see this, and it's growing. It grows daily. That's the great part about this live stream performance, the fact that it grows on a daily basis. It just doesn't go away. It's like a movie. It comes to different theaters all the time, and you keep seeing them. It just keeps going on and on and on, which is great. And I'm glad that it's growing daily, because I think if it happens all of a sudden, there's a block. But when it starts to grow, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger slowly. It's even better for me.
What is interesting, I had a thought about it, is that you can see the comments. The fans are making comments below the performance.
My assistant, she printed out all the comments that came afterwards, and the file was about this thick, pieces of paper. And in my downtime, which I have a lot of, mind you, lately, I'm skipping through them and reading them. They're absolutely fantastic. It's such a great morale booster, for somebody who's sitting here doing nothing except reading wonderful things that people say about you. It's a delight to know that my work is appreciated by people not only in this country but around the world.
For sure. And it keeps growing and growing. And Engelbert, we want to continue that for you here while we have the downtime.
The downtime I'm hoping, is not going to be too much more downtime. I don't know. As I said, we're hoping in a couple of months or so, it's all going to change, and I think it'll be like a miracle. It'll be like going from bad to good all of a sudden. I'm no Nostradamus, but I believe that something good is going to happen. It has to. The world has been punished long enough, and I think it's time for it to. We've for everybody to confess whatever they've done wrong, and I think everything will be right again.
Can your fans expect another live stream from you, Engelbert?
And the next time I would like to do it with my musicians, of course, having social distancing, etc. But doing it with a live band in my house. I could do it here. I could still do it here. I have a studio downstairs big enough to accommodate a band, and I think maybe next time I'll do it in that respect,
That's a good idea. Wow.
Great lights that happen in a theater, but this is home, so you have to accept what it is. As a matter of fact, I didn't mind what happened in the last live stream, because it was done with just a couple of cameras, and it was just done so well. I was really thrilled with the people who made it happen for me, and of course my audience out there showed their appreciation by that big pile of comments that came back, and I really appreciated that, Loretta.
I love the room you recorded in.
We kind of limited everything down, cut everything down, but the room is quite big, massive, and hopefully next time I could utilize the entire room, because all my trophies are in that room. All my trophies, I've got a lot of albums, 75 gold, 23 platinums, and many 250,000 records, those sort of things that used to happen in the past, I've got a great room there with a lot of trophies in it, which I'm very proud of, and maybe next time we could shoot that and then come to the stage, that sort of thing, shoot the albums and come to the stage. We can do it in many ways, but I'd rather be doing it on stage over there in where you are right now in Singapore. And I'd love to come back and do my concert over there again. I have a lot of new material, which is very exciting. Some of which you heard on my live stream, some new songs.
Yes, I like to talk about the new songs.
Yeah.
On the live stream.
Yeah, I did. I always wanted to sing the Bob Dylan song, and that was my arrangement, by the way. I did that arrangement, and I did the arrangement of You, with the song called You. Mm-hmm. I'm doing my own music now. I find it very interesting to be able to do it myself. I can't write music, but I can sing it, and then the music director writes it down.
Yeah, that was a very nice arrangement, Forever Young.
Thank you. I made it kind of funky, a little bit funky too.
It was beautiful. We enjoyed it. Engelbert, do you think the live streaming will be a sustainable business?
I think it'll be around, but I don't think it's going to be as popular as doing the proper things. Social media is great, by the way, because it does promote you in a very, very great way. Not just in one country. It sort of it goes around the world, and that's what's happening today. Including world travel. At one time, if you wanted to do a world tour, it would take you 2-3 years. Now it takes you 6 months. And you're done. You could do a world tour. And that's how small the world has become because of technology. And it's just wonderful to know that this is all possible, and in one's lifetime, because life is not that, you have to worry about how long you can do your business for, so therefore you have to get it done while you can.
You've done everything, Engelbert. You've done your music albums, you've done your television special, you had the Engelbert Show. You've done a lot in your career.
Yeah, the kind of people that I have been associated with, like since the Dean Martins and the Frank Sinatras and Sammy Davis and all these massive legendary performers, and Ray Charles, people like that, and Elvis Presley. I'm just content with the fact that I have been able to say that I have worked with all these people,
Who till this day, among the many great artists you have worked with, stands out for you?
I can't really specify who that might be, but like for instance, I've worked with on albums on an album, like for instance, I've worked with Elton John, who absolutely is one of the most incredible people to be in the studio with. Gene Simmons, yeah. I work with Gene Simmons. He's absolutely amazing. He's amazing, especially in the studio. He makes you feel so comfortable. A giant star like that, coming to work with me, and he just made me feel so good. And my daughter says, "Oh, Dad, that he looks like you. You look like him. Yes, I have worked with great people in my life, wonderful, including, and I know this is going back a long time, but when I first came to America, I had the privilege of working with Bing Crosby, Lena Horne, Bob, Jerry Lewis, people of that caliber. It's just unbelievable to think that I have lived my life with all those people, and it's just an amazing life story. But one day I hope the movies will tell. I don't know who would play me if somebody played me in a movie. I don't know who it might be. But with the makeup they have today, I could do it myself.
That's a brilliant idea. Someone to play you in the movies, to tell your story,
Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it?
It would be fantastic.
I mean, I left India when I was 10 years old, and living in the tropics was quite fascinating for a young boy, And my father was in the army, and everywhere we went in the car with him, people were saluting him, and it was just amazing to have that kind of attention.
While we are going through this massive, pandemic, we also experience the racial unrest and the protest in America. And I've been doing a lot of, reading, on the Black Lives Matter movement, Engelbert. Did you see racial, prejudice back in the 60s?
I came over in the 60s, and I never saw any prejudice. I don't really like it. I don't like people, that sort of thing. But I think everybody's equal, and everybody's a human being, and everybody should treat each other like human beings, no matter what. I just recorded a song called "One World," which is going to be released pretty shortly, and it kind of relates to the fact that why can't we just have a peace and tranquility throughout the world, and everybody had just one world and respect each other's countries, just total respect and friendship and love. That's what the life is about. Life is about love. It's not about hate. Hate that's for the devil, But when there's love, it's holy, I think.
Now, I just want to touch about your name.
When I first started in the business, my name was my real name is Arnold George Dorsey. Now, I couldn't get on with Arnold, and I tried it with Jerry. That didn't work. And then I got this manager, Gordon Mills, and Gordon Mills was developing a stable, and he had a stable of Tom Jones and Gilbert O'Sullivan and myself, 3 people. And I want to tell you something. He was a genius of a manager, because these 3 names went round the world. The names went round the world. And I have to say that he did make me who I am today, although I did leave his company in 1977, I think it was. And just a few years later, he passed away with cancer, which was sad, really. But he was a genius. And he changed my name to Engelbert Humperdinck. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why I'm here talking to you, because of his genius moves in making me a star.
So when you mentioned about, the possibility of this movie, making a movie, who would play, in your mind, Gordon Mills? And who would play you?
I don't know who would play me.
Okay, that's something for us to think about, I mean, we can ask on social media who would,
It's up to the directors who are making the movie. They do many things, and they'll find the right person. Somebody 6'1.5" and weighing about 200 pounds, and with green eyes and dark hair. Mind you, when I first started, when I was in my 20s, I had gray hair, and I colored it this color, and I kept coloring it from then onwards, Underneath here, it's all gray, I'm not going to let it go gray. You know why? I'm not going to let the old man in. Don't let the old man in. You know that song that was on my live show? That song was written by Toby Keith, and I heard it in the movie The Mule. I fell in love with it, and the lyrics are my sentiments entirely. I live by those sentiments. I don't ever want to get old, although I'd never have any face work done. I don't need that. I just want to, I'll grow graceful, but I've been born with good genes, so my skin is pretty good, for my age, which is 52. And
you've worked with so many great, artists, actors, musicians. Can you tell me what's the story behind Tom Jones?
In 1977, I believe it was, I broke away from the team and I went solo, I just wanted to be on my own. So I got away from the team. I haven't seen Tom Jones in 40 years or so, something like that. All I can tell you about him is the fact, he's one of the greatest artists the world has ever created. And I put him down as top 5 in the world, one of them, one of the top 5 in the world as a singer, entertainer, and I consider him a great talent. And that's all I have to say. We're not so social together or anything lately, for a long time, because he does his thing and I do mine. Good luck to him, and I always wish him good luck.
You are the king of romance.
That's what they called me. It was given to me when I first began by the fans and by the press and everything, and it just stuck. It stuck, and I'm quite honored, quite flattered to know that people deem me as the king of romance, because there was the king of rock and roll, and of course Elvis was the king of rock and roll, and so many kings in their different sort of categories, and I was the king of romance.
In 2014, you came up with this phenomenal album, Engelbert Calling, star-studded album. How did that mega idea come about for you, Engelbert?
A duet album, and I've always wanted to work with big names, in the industry. Although I have in the past worked with a few. Before I did this, I did work with people like Ray Charles, like that. And in my TV show, I worked with many major stars. But when I did the album, I was able to work with people I wanted to work with, like Olivia Newton-John and Cliff Richard, and Elton John, and Willie Nelson, one of my favorite people in the whole world, And when I did my duet with him, and he put his thing, he said, "Engelbert, if you're not happy with it, I can do it again," And he's such a wonderful man, And of course, Gene Simmons from Kiss was absolutely adorable and wonderful person. And the late Kenny Rogers, my God, I'm so thrilled I got to work with him, because he was a beautiful man. He was a sweetheart, absolute sweetheart, And of course, I did Johnny Mathis, who was one of the greatest singers in the world, and Neil Sedaka, my good friend, Aznavour. I got to work with Aznavour before that great man, went to heaven. Armando Manzanero, the great guy. And the good part about it was I was able to do 2 songs with my children. I did one with Bradley, my son Bradley, and my daughter Louise. And it was their platform, and because they were trying to make it in show business, But you have to knock on doors a lot harder than they attempted to do.
What are your 2 children doing now, Engelbert, Louise and Dorsey?
My daughter's still a writer, and she writes a lot of songs. The person that's in show business in her family is her little daughter. At 9 years old, she recorded that song, "I'm Glad I Danced With You," on my album, my duet album. And she was 9 when she did that. And now she's just turned 12, I think. She's turned 12. But I'm going to tell you something. If I tell you this little girl sings like Whitney Houston, I am not saying one word out of the way, because she is in her own inimitable way. She's got that Whitney Houston sort of style behind her, you know, and she's going to be a major star. But her name is Olivia, and she's going to be a major star.
I think we saw her in the video in Singapore. I'm not sure the video. I think the video was in the live shows of Olivia.
The live show, yes. Yeah. If it wasn't for this pandemic, she'd probably be in one of those big shows, you know, like America's Got Talent or something like that, you know, because she's now in that bracket where she can do anything. Magnificent singer.
We're gonna, wish Olivia all the best and look out for her.
Thank you.
So, Engelbert, on Singapore, when was the first time you toured Singapore for your live shows?
I can remember Singapore when it had rickshaws. It's one of the most magnificent places I've ever been to in my life. Spotlessly clean. It's just a beautiful place to visit, and I would advise anybody to go there and see the magnificence of the country. It truly is beautiful. I get my clothes made in Singapore too, you know.
Yes, I remember. We had a nice rickshaw drive.
Oh yeah, we did, didn't we?
Yeah.
That's a kind of I remember when the rickshaws were, in plentiful, but not now. Not now. It's such a beautiful city. It's a magnificent buildings and just an incredible place. And Raffles, of course, has always been there, hasn't it? It's always been. It's from the beginning of. I can remember going there when I first went to Singapore. Nothing's changed. It's just beautiful. It's the same Raffles, and it has such a great history. And people always talk about that place. Get a good cup of tea in Raffles.
Anything else you want to tell your fans, Engelbert?
I'm very happy to be talking to you and making contact with people over there in Singapore. And I'm just hoping that one day I will return and give them my show once again, you know, and hopefully they will enjoy it as much as they did the last time. I hope.
There will be a big pent-up demand.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Loretta. That's good. Thanks. Really nice talking with you. Really nice, and thank you for you've got you know who you've got behind you? Dion. Well, Dion. All right. I want to tell you, she was on my album too. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Dion, the album. That's amazingly. As a matter of fact, Dion was on my television show when I first began. I had that major TV show that went around the world. Dion was famous for singing a lot of Burt Bacharach songs, wasn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Burt wrote a song for me too called "I'm a Better Man." After all the experience I've had in my life right now, I feel like I'm a better man.
Thank you so much, Engelbert.
Loretta, it's been my pleasure. God bless you all, and thank you for talking with me. God bless you all, and be safe.
Thank you for inspiring us, Engelbert Humperdinck. With your charm, your grace, and your kindness. That is why you are called the King of Romance. Want to find out more about Engelbert Humperdinck? You can visit his website at engelbert.com or go to Spotify, Apple Music, or other digital platforms you use. If you're a new viewer to the show and want to find out about us and what we do, you can visit our website at lamcproductions.com. Or you can follow us on our social media accounts, Words and Music, at the links below. I would appreciate and would love to hear from you. So drop us your comments below and share this link to your friends and associates. Now you can listen to the podcast version of Words and Music on Spotify, Apple, Google, and Omni. Next week, I'm glad to say we speak to Ariana Savalas from the musical collective Postmodern Jukebox. So until next week, my name is Loretta Elabons for Words and Music.